Sam here. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're at in the world today. I am so glad you're here for another micro interview. Amy and I have been talking and getting ready to share her tip, thought, or piece of advice. But in the process, I was asking her about her superhero origin story. And you're going to want to watch to hear that in addition to her tip or piece of advice. So if you're new to Safe Heart Connections, we are so glad you're here. We're glad you found us. If you've been around a while, we're glad you came back. We are all about creating a life you live one choice at a time, starting now with this micro interview. So, Amy, share your thought, tip, or piece of advice, and then we'll have a little bit of conversation about it.
So my piece of advice or tip is to break down any of your big goals into bite-sized chunks. Not only does it give you more things to tick off and go ta-da if you struggle with a to-do list, it makes things more manageable. You don't sit and procrastinate over the task at hand, and you'll find you're more productive as a result. That is my tip, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah, it is so true. For so many women, especially, we feel like we have to be all things to all people. We have to get all the things done. And we have this big, long list. And sometimes these things are big things. And to break it down into small, bite-sized pieces to where you can do one thing. And then the person I just did another interview. Yeah. Her thing was talking about celebrating when you get the thing done. And it can be the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be anything big, but to celebrate your wins, because if you do something and then you just move on to the next thing without a celebration, then your brain is not getting that positive
You
reinforcement.
need dopamine hit, especially with the amount of us that are finding out we're on the neurospicy spectrum. The dopamine hit is a really big deal. And it were a friend that told me about, like, when it comes to even tidying your room, it doesn't have to be in business. It can be sorting your house out. And she said, split your room like the clock. So if you work at 10 minutes a time of the room and then have a break and work around the room like that, you're more likely to get it finished than sat there and get overwhelmed and procrastinate and just be in that doom spiral, I guess.
Yeah, that's so true. So one of the things that I've done when it comes to cleaning or organizing, which is not my gift at all, but I'll sit and I'll look at the room and I just sit there for a little bit and it kind of close my eyes and I imagine what I want it to look like. And
Yep.
then I imagine all the things that I need to do and I kind of put them in order, what makes the most sense. And I'll just go do the smallest one thing. And then I sit down and I look at it again and I'm like, oh, looky there. I got that done. And then I go to the next one. But I like the idea of the clock because you can visually in your brain see where the hand is to know and just
Yeah.
focus on that little section. You don't have to look at the whole thing. Just focus on that
It
little
can make
section at
it
a
into a
time.
game as well. So, especially if you're getting kids involved, obviously it's slightly different for me because I've only got one child. But if I had multiple children, you could get them collecting the same colour, or one collects one colour. Right, first to get 5 items and gets them put away gets a little treat. There's so many ways you can do things. But yeah, the big celebrating, and when you do celebrate, it gives you that spur of energy to then move on to do the next thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, Amy, for your time, your thought. And now we're going to segue into your superhero origin story. And I
Yeah.
can't wait to be able to share that with the women in the world, whether they're watching online in the community. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Always remember to practice gratitude, which I know you teach anyway. And when you're feeling negative, as much as it's important to sit with those feelings and understand them, then move on and try and reframe them into the positive, because things happen for a reason. And at the time that it's feeling negative and icky and not pleasant, you're not going to find that positive reframe straight away. But it's always important to kind of reframe it in your mind so you don't get stuck in whatever trauma you're in.
That's so good, Amy. And so I love that. And I believe that the faster you can go from the icky, which is a technical term that you use that I'm going to use now too. It's a technical word. So the sooner you can get from the icky to the gratitude, that's the faster your healing can begin. Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it, like you said, you don't feel it right away. And sometimes it takes years. And,
Yeah.
and that's not, that's hard. And I've been in a situation where it took me several years. For a long time, I said, there's absolutely nothing good that came out of this situation. That was awful. And 100% it was awful. But since then, it's almost 7 years ago now. I have 3 big gratitude moments from that one situation that if I hadn't have been actively trying to find the good, I wouldn't have, and I would have stayed in that pit, in that icky. So thank you for that reminder.
No worries at all. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll see you later.
Bye.